Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. So today's one of the mixed ones. We'll look at the highlights from the mid-month update from IOHK. We'll also look at the chart that's going around from Messari showing Cardano as the #1 trading volume over the last 24 hours. And they are talking about adjusted volume, which is sometimes left out of the chart when people are sharing it. But I'll talk a little bit about that as well. We look at a new feature Muesliswap has added for analyzing your wallet, one that I really like. I'll answer some of the common questions I got on the yield farming video, as well as some of the updates around Sundaeswap. The ISO is finished, but they have extended it for one epoch with something called a reserve ISO, but I'll go through that as well. Might take a look at the charts very quickly at the end as well. Timestamps will be below for anyone who wants to jump to certain sections. If you get value, think others can benefit, please do share it out there. Give the video a like. Let me know below what you want to see me include in some of the next few videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. If you need a stake pool, you know where I am. I run Paul and Paul1, and that really does support the channel. So let's jump into it. Okay, so we'll start out here with the mid-month update, and there wasn't a huge amount of new information. We've had bits of it before, but I'll give you the summary or what I took from it anyway. So they talked again about the 3 updates that we are going to get this year, and I will leave a link to this down below because I'm not going to talk through all of it here. The end of February is a major release. It's not going to be a hard fork. The end of June is a hard fork, and to me is the huge one this year. There is a lot of things coming in there, especially for scaling. And then there's another one the end of October. So the end of February, it looks like we're getting a new node version, which is really going to be optimized for speed and should make a lot of really good improvements and how efficient it can actually run. We're also going to get multi-sig, which for me and most people watching here won't be a massive feature, but in terms of projects and groups of people who own funds, this is a vital feature. So this means that for a standard wallet, what happens is you create a wallet, and to send funds out of it, then you just need to, one person needs to approve it. With a multi-sig, it means that you assign multiple owners to it, and when you want to send funds out of the wallet, every one of them or a set number of them has to actually approve the transaction. So for things like projects that raise funds, this is definitely a really vital feature to make sure that the funds are kept safe. The same for something like a DAO or groups that hold funds themselves. So great to see this coming along. There's other improvements as well that are going to come that are more tailored towards projects that you can hear a little bit about in the video. Things like leadership scheduling, local transaction monitoring, and auto calculation for Plutus. They also talk about the parameter updates. Anyone using the chain now will notice that things are a lot better than they were 2 weeks ago. So part of that is down to the block increase, which means more transactions going through. Also the memory script increase for smart contracts as well. And look, transaction volume is slightly down, but in general, the parameter updates are helping us with the congestion on chain. And there's going to be more of them rolling out over the next while as well. So we also got from Hydra, we also had the guys on from Hydra that talked a bit about what to expect from Hydra and some of the use cases. There's also an article here that you can check about implementing Hydra heads and clarifying some things around Hydra as well. So I'm not going to get into this here, but I will get into it a bit more when I do a video looking solely at scaling on Cardano. But good to see some updates on this as well. And as I say, I'll leave a link to this down below for anyone who wants to check it out. And June is going to be the time that we see the first release of Hydra. We're also going to see some other really important scaling features coming then. We're going to see pipelining, which helps propagation across the network. And then some of these SIPs that are vital for certain dApps to launch as well. In terms of reference scripts, things like this are really going to help with network congestion as well, because you don't have to include scripts in every transactions. You can actually just reference them, which means there's more space in each block for more transactions as well. So again, things like that I'll dive deeper into when I do the video on scaling. So something else that you will have seen then going around, or some people will, especially across Twitter and that, is this chart here, and it's actually showing Bitcoin as #1 now and Cardano as #2 and then Ethereum. So for a while there, Cardano was #1 and it was based on adjusted transaction volume. Now currently they're not tracking adjusted transaction volume for every chain. So we don't know the exact standing of all chains, but what they mean by adjusted transaction volume. So this is all on-chain data, and there's actually a good article here to expand this a bit more. First off, they've started off doing it for the UTXO chains like Bitcoin, Cardano, and they've also done it for Ethereum. So transactions, if we look here from the perspective of an analyst or economist, it's useful to isolate only the meaningful economic transactions, and that's what they're looking to do here. So transactions that actually mean something in the world, not where funds just move within the one wallet. So for me, this is going to be a very interesting chart to keep an eye on when they start to get this data for every chain. It is very good to see though that on this metric here, Cardano is 2 to 3 times the size of Ethereum right now, which is very interesting to see. As I say, it's one I'm going to keep an eye on, and for now, things look very good there. People have asked why they don't see other chains that have such a big throughput as well. If we look at the likes of Solana or Avalanche or Terra, you can see the 3 of them there. They're 3 stats I would love to see. What is actually real volume on the network versus things that are just transactions that don't actually have any economic value. But again, check out Messari if you want to see some of these stats here. So next up is, look, tracking ADA can be hard right now. I personally use CoinSats. I really like the wallet of CoinSats to track my portfolio. I've used it for years, but with CoinSats, they only let you track per address with Cardano. So that can lead to giving a bit of a fright some days, because with the UTXO model, when you send a transaction, what it does is it takes all of the funds that are on a certain address, and then it sends what you want to send out. It sends that to the wallet you specify, and it sends the rest of the funds to another address within your wallet. So if you're tracking just by the address like CoinSats offer, and you don't update to the new address, the next time you go into CoinSats and it's refreshed, then you look at it and you don't see your ADA. So it has given me a fright on a few occasions. But I have found this app here. I think it's fairly new. Andro Developments over on Twitter. I shared it out on my own Twitter as well. And what you can actually do, it's dedicated to Cardano. You can see when you come in, you get an overview of the price, the current epoch, and as well as that, you can add your different wallets into it. So what this one does is this tracks based on the stake key. So that means it tracks every address within the wallet. It also tracks all of the assets in the wallet as well. So when you come in, you scan in the wallet, you can add up to 3 for free. And I think it's only $1 or something like that to get 7 addresses then as well, or 7 accounts. So look, some people will have multiple accounts, one for NFTs, one for trading on exchanges, 1 or 2 for long-term holds. So something like this is great to get an overview of your total Cardano and your Cardano assets portfolio. So again, I'll leave links to it down below for anyone who wants to check it out as well. And look, you're not giving these guys seed phrase access or anything like that. They get read-only access to addresses, which they can then look up on the blockchain and pull back the data for you. So if fake wallets like this ever come out and they're looking for seed phrases, you don't need to do that. With this, all you need to do is put in the public wallet address, and then they're able to track from there. That doesn't give any access to the actual funds. Another one kind of related to this as well is a new feature over on Muesliswap that is really good. When you connect up your wallet and go to asset overview here, this is what you get. So this is a wallet that I use for testing. You can see it's got some World Mobile, it's got some ADA, and it's got a small bit of Sundae in there as well. So it shows you the breakdown of it, and it also gives you the value of the assets. So some people will have 10, 20, 30 different assets in a wallet, and because a lot of them aren't tracked on mainstream exchanges yet, centralized exchanges, then a lot of the tracking apps don't pick up the prices. So with something like this, you can log in, and if they're trading on Muesliswap, it's able to give you the value of them then. So you can see, it tells me here there's 20 ADA in this, and the value of the tokens is 201 ADA if I sold them all at the current market price. So like, you'll have a little bit of slippage in there, so it would be slightly less than this, but it's a great way to get an overview of what your wallet actually looks like, and something that it is a really great feature. Muesliswap bringing out new features like this, doing a really good job there right now. So in terms of centralized exchanges then, we see Sundaeswap has been added to their first one, which is Bitrue. They've listed some other Cardano native assets as well. I would say be careful if you're trading here as well, because when you start to look at the order book, it's fairly thin right now. So if you do some market orders on this, you could have a lot of slippage in your price. And by that I mean is when you go on to trade on a decentralized exchange, decentralized exchanges are always my first preference. If I can't do it there, I'll look at a centralized one then. But on decentralized, you're able to set your slippage. So what you're willing to accept, how much less you're willing to accept in the trade. But in something like this, you can't set your slippage. So if you put in a market order, a fairly big market order, there's a chance you could run right up through the order book. So if you come in here and wanted to sell 10,000 Sundae and you put in a market order, it would just start selling it off at all of these prices here and start moving down through the order book. So you would get, for 35 of them, you would get 71 cent, but it would keep moving down here, and to fill the 10,000, it would be down in around here. So it would be 69.8 cent, where is the last price you get then. So just be careful of that if you're doing any market orders. Always check the liquidity on the order book before you go and jump into any trades. Okay, so then on to talking about, we'll come on to that in a minute. That's the ISO summary and the reserve ISO they're running now. But on the yield farming video I got a few common questions on this, and they were in around what pairs can be used for yield farming, and even people who put funds in, they provided liquidity and they don't have the option. So some of the reasons for this, if you look here, you can see there's a tag on this, and most exchanges will do this as well. Highlight which ones offer yield farming rewards. And you can see these top three pairs here are the only ones. You can provide liquidity for any of the pairs on the exchange and you earn LP, you earn fees that are used in trading on that pair. But for yield farming on top of that, it has to be these three pairs here. And even on that, there was people who provided for LQ ADA and they said they couldn't see the option. But what it turned out was they provided liquidity for the 0.05% LP fee, which is further down. If I actually look for LQ, so you can see here there's different pools, and people were providing liquidity on these pools down here, but you don't get yield farming opportunities there. It's only on the 0.3% LP fee pool. So just be careful of that as well. Generally, this is the pool that I would look to go into for any of the liquidity pools as well. And on this as well, some people were worried about providing liquidity and having to wait 30 days. The 30 days is only for yield farming. If you're just providing liquidity, you can stay in there for as long or as short as you want, and you won't be penalized for pulling out early. Now, we still don't see the actual, if you look, you still don't see the fees that you earn for providing liquidity just yet. Hopefully we will start to see them appear fairly soon as well. Okay, then on to the ISO and the summary on what's going on there. So February 14th was the last snapshot for the ISO. So that was for round 5 of the ISO. So if you're in my pool and you were a part of it for the 5 snapshots, at this stage now, all of the snapshots are finished and you will get rewards for the 5 epochs. The claim process is going to happen on March 1st. And that's going to be through drip drops. They will also have their own claim process at a later date, but we don't have a date on when that will be available yet. That's for people who don't want to pay the drip drops fee. Now they've also decided to extend it by one epoch, and they're calling it the reverse ISO. So for single pools that got 1 vote in the original scooper vote, then their pools now have a chance to be a part of the ISO for 1 epoch. So the snapshot for that is February 19th, and then the claim process for that will be later this year, which will be through their own claim process as well. So the ISO, the reserve ISO, the claim process won't be through drip drops. I've seen a little bit of confusion around that on social media. The only ones that will be claimed through drip drops are the 5 epoch rewards from the ISO. The reserve ISO, which is 1 epoch, is going to be later on this year that you can claim them. So there's a list of all the pools here for anyone who wants to have a look and get involved in any of them. The snapshot is February 19th. And if you look on Pool Peak as well, You'll see Paddy has put together the snapshot here as well of all the different pools, giving you all the stats. That's Paddy's pool there as well for anyone interested. So I'll leave the links to all of that down below as well. So looking at the charts then, we'll take a very quick look at Bitcoin and at ADA, and then I will finish out the video then. So we see that Bitcoin broke above 41, has so far held above 41, which for me is an important level. You can see we broke up through 43. We'll go in a bit closer on the 4 hour. Got up through 43, held it as support twice, and then fell briefly below it. Really doesn't matter that much. 41 for me is a far more important level. So what I'm looking is intermediate 43, but then 41 is still the level that I'm watching fairly closely. On the upside, what I'm looking at is 46 will be a bit of resistance. You can see once, twice, we didn't quite reach it, but that's where we were turned back. 48 is the bigger resistance level for me personally anyway. Look, everyone will read the charts different, but on a technical side, 48 is the level I'd look at up here and 41 down here. If we can break 48, to me, that's when things start to get a lot more bullish from a technical standpoint anyway, and staying above 41 keeps us in a fairly safe zone. Okay, so then we'll take a look at the ADA price quickly. Not a huge amount happening here either. Good signs are that 102 has once again held as an extremely solid support. This really is a level where a lot of people are happy to accumulate ADA. So what we're looking at here is we got the bounce of nearly exactly on 102 again, and for me, I'm watching this level to see, are we going to hold it if we do come back down for a test? And when we do get the push to the upside, this downtrend here is what I'm looking to see. This is where we need to break. I would expect the first time we hit it to get a bit of a pullback and then hopefully push on through that as well. So look, overall things are looking slightly better in crypto in general right now. But you look at what's going on in the world, and everything that's going on with Russia right now will have a big impact on world markets as well as crypto. Something bad happens out there, it's going to have a big impact. It's going to drop the markets. If that all dies off and things start to get a bit calmer, then the crypto markets as well as world markets will have a chance to start pushing up again. In terms of Cardano making a run on its own without the rest of the market, I still don't think we're there just yet. Over the next, I'd say once we get to June, that's when Cardano really should be able to stand and run really pretty much on its own at that stage with these scaling solutions and everything that comes. But we need to see what the overall crypto market is like at that stage. Over the next few months, it can definitely move to the upside as things start to roll out. As you see, congestion is getting better. As more dApps launch, that will start to clog up again. But if we get the parameter updates on a regular basis, that's going to alleviate that. Lots of L2s starting to put their heads up. Things are starting to look a lot better. Hope this has been of some use for you guys. If it has, give the video a like, share it out there, and thanks very much for watching, guys. I will talk to you soon.